Before we move into our time for meditation, I'm just going to tell you all that it's Ron's birthday. So when we go into our special coffee hour time, you can make sure to give Ron a big special happy birthday. Every Sunday that we gather together, we make a time in our service to recognize that into each of our lives come both sorrow and joy. We remind ourselves that even with all the hurts and hardships, this time that we are given is precious, beautiful, made all the better for our sharing it together. We remind ourselves that each of us has flourishing to do, that our lives are constantly unfolding, and that our beauty is both present and ever growing. This morning, I'm going to speak some words because it is a very full day, actually, but then we're going to sing our meditation. So for the moment, what I'm going to ask you to do is to focus your attention on the array of flowers before us. If you prefer to close your eyes, that is always okay. At home on Zoom, if you want to focus on whatever flower or plant you've brought to the screen with you, that's great. And I'm going to ask you to take a breath and to settle yourself into your space. Find the comfortable position that you are able to find. Take another breath. Come into some stillness of body as you are able and stillness of mind. And breathe. Today, we recognize Juneteenth. This is a day that marks a day back in 1865, when the Emancipation Proclamation finally reached and was made real in Galveston, Texas, nearly 3 years after it was initially proclaimed, and more than a month after the official end of the Civil War. On June 19th, a formal reading of General Order Number 3 was done in Galveston, and 2,000 troops, many of whom were Black, supported that order and ended legal slavery in Texas. This day is now a national holiday, observed tomorrow, and folks all around the country will celebrate, each in their own way. I invite you to consider that this celebration is a reminder that the saying of words does not make a thing so. Our words must be backed with action and determination. It is a reminder that our ideals are only as good as our lived realities, that we must make real the beloved community in all the ways we know how, always learning new ways and growing in our capacity to manifest them. Take a deep breath and let yourself remember that history. Focus on that liberation. This morning is also Father's Day, a day that can be complicated, but can also be full of love. I'll invite you to focus on, in your mind, on someone who has played the role of father in your life in a way that was loving, kind, and good. Today we give thanks for the fathers we have known in our lives, fathers by blood or by heart, adoptive fathers, uncles, grandfathers, friends, teachers, fathers for whom we use that title and others we call by other names. We give thanks for the fathers that showed us kindness, nurtured and protected us, taught us and challenged us, mentored us and gave us courage. We give thanks for the fathers by any name or gender who helped us become ourselves and who embraced and celebrated us for who we are, who taught us to be true to ourselves, who showed vulnerability and honesty in being their whole selves. And on this day of celebration, we also hold in our hearts space for the challenges this day can present. We hold with compassion all those who never wanted to become fathers, but found themselves thrust into that role. All those who took on fathering where it wasn't required. All those who suffered at the hands of people who were supposed to be fathers to them. All those who feel only disappointment when they hear that word. All those fathers who, for whatever reason, can no longer father their children. All those who felt the lack of a father, those who never minded the absence of one, and all those who wished to be fathers but have struggled to find ways to live into that role. As we breathe together, we remember that days like today are complicated, but that each of us has the chance to take on the best of paternal values, values that include encouraging others. Our world is in desperate need of people who value others' wholeness, and it is in desperate need of each of our wholeness. As we recognize fathers this morning, and as we remember the historical and present fights for justice, we long for and we commit to working for a day when every person is celebrated, regardless of their race or who they love or what gender they are. Every moment, our hope is this: may those who suffer silently in fear of living their true lives know that they are not alone. There are people who love you, who will love you just as you are. May those who suffer for daring to live their true and honest lives know that they are not alone. There are people who love you, who will love you just as you are. Please take a deep breath. We're going to sing our meditation song. If you prefer to stay breathing, that's okay, and just listen. Kristen will sing it once, and then we'll repeat that verse together 3 times, and then Kristen will close us as we breathe with a final 5th singing. Okay, so we'll start. May we all know love given and received every day as our lives unfold. So may it be. So last week, as I stood up here in front of you, I felt a little bit tender, which sometimes happens. I arrive here, script in hand, not even a script necessarily filled with words that feel particularly precious or vulnerable, but something in me just feels a little tender sometimes. I find myself close to tears during a reading, or as I listen to you all sing, or even as I just watch you attend to the music and words of the service and let them transform you. It's a bit of the magic of this time that we spend together. And I was reminded that you all arrive that way sometimes too. Tender, emotional, those moments when everything feels a little bit close to the surface, when the world feels a bit too much with you. All of us, human as we are, come here in different states, and this time we share works on each of us in different ways. My position up here is somewhat unique, obviously. I get to look out at all of you. You're stuck looking at me. And I feel bad about that often because from up here, I get to see so much beauty, so much diversity. I can watch the emotions and responses as they move across your face. I can see your bodies sway to the music. I get to watch in real time as community is affirmed, strengthened, created anew. So I'm going to ask you to actually just take a minute while I'm talking and quit looking at me and just look at each other. And if you're on Zoom, just like scroll around the gallery and look at each other and see each other, because what I get to see every Sunday is actually quite wondrous, and I want you to see it too. You can keep looking while I talk. We talk a lot here about the world being hard, and I know that sometimes it can feel like we maybe talk about that too much. But the world is hard, but it's also a place of unspeakable beauty and joy, and I see that every Sunday when I stand up here. And these flowers attest to that. You attest to that. This world is a place where people can care for each other, a place where people can give their time and energy to share with one another. Yes, the world is hard, but what a gift it is to have one another to meet that hardness with. What softness we bring to the world with each other. What beauty we're able to create. And it turns out that this is a community that can hold not only your tears, but also your joy. So this morning, we're just gonna shout out some joy in no particular order. You are invited to type into the chat or call out into this space or turn and tell your neighbor something you're feeling joyful about. It could be a person, it could be a thing that happened, anything, you can just shout it out. Joy unbounded for like a minute, let's do it. I mean it. Give it to me. Give me the joy.
It's Ron's birthday. Yippee!
Yes.
I'm still here.
That's right. Yes. That's true. Ice cream after church today. That is a joy. Sharing our joy matters, right? It makes you smile when you hear other people shouting it out. This is a community for dandelions and peonies and roses and wildflowers and every kind of weed, lupines, and ferns and seedlings and seeds that are still buried beneath the soil waiting to bloom and blossom. And what we're doing here, why we're here, is to create a world in which all of that is loved and given space to become. We're here to see and know the existing beauty of the world and of each other, and we're here to add to it even more. Just like the lupine lady, to scatter the seeds of beauty and glory and joy and justice and love everywhere we walk, without fanfare, without knowing for sure what might come of them. That's what we're called to do, to pour ourselves out, scatter our gifts and our talents, lay the groundwork for the world we want to be. Miss Rumphius saw the wonder of the world as it is, traveled, met new people, took risks, adventured, and still she knew she had work to do. That's the mission that matters, to know the world for exactly what it is, to know that it is unflaggingly beautiful, and then to do everything we can to leave it just that bit more beautiful than we found it. And I know that you know that I'm not talking about making it necessarily visually more beautiful, though planting flowers is always a lovely choice. When I talk about beauty, I mean all of it. I mean the beauty of the colors and the flowers, but also the beauty of the heartbreak and the healing, the beauty of compassion and kindness, the beauty of liberation and freedom, the beauty of teaching and parenting and mentoring, the beauty of wholeness and community, the beauty of love given and received. Each of us adds to that beauty just by being here, by living our lives as authentically, honestly, and openly as possible, by unfolding in our own time into the unique flower of our own lives. And that's what we celebrate today. That's what the flower celebration is. With every fiber of our being, it is a recognition of the power of our own lives amplified by our shared commitment to community. That's what Norbert Čapek wanted to celebrate. So, friends on Zoom, bring your flowers to your screen. If it isn't already there, wonderful, we're happy to see them. Folks here in Anderson, go ahead and focus your vision over here for a minute. We're gonna do one thing before we actually start coming and taking our flowers. Whenever Norbert Čapek led this ritual in Prague, he would consecrate the flowers. So today, we're gonna do that work with words adapted from Čapek. We're going to sort of bless our abundance of varied colors, shapes, sizes, and scents that together make one glorious image. So I'm going to invite you to, if you feel comfortable, you can hold up your hands toward the flowers like you're going to that blessing move. If you feel like it, you don't have to. You can do the little blessing move if you feel good about it, and then listen to the words. These are Norbert Čapek's, and then some additions of my own, okay? All right. Infinite Spirit of life, Spirit of peace, Spirit of love, we ask a blessing on these messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us of the beauty of the earth, of the capacity for the cold and the dark to transform into the warmth and light of what is possible in this glorious life. May they remind us to rejoice in our diversities of being, of knowledge and of gifts, but also may they remind us to be one in our desire for justice and in our affection for each other and for life. May they remind us of the value of friendship, of doing and sharing alike as we continue our journey of searching and learning. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do the work of love and justice in this world. May the flowers we brought and the beauty we have made remind us that we are part of communities larger than ourselves, that we can commit ourselves to the common good so that we might all thrive in a more joyful, just, and loving world. May it be so. Now, as Ron and Kristen share a final piece of music that we will listen to, we promise, we are also going to do the work of the actual celebration, which means, in a very calm and orderly fashion, those of us here in Anderson are going to walk up to the front and select a flower. We are going to be at either end of the table to help you. We don't want any vases coming down, but we will allow you to choose what one you want. You can point, we'll help you pull it out, okay? But we're gonna be calm and orderly. And friends on Zoom, we invite you to sort of look through the various flowers up here and what other friends have brought to their Zoom screens. Okay, we're gonna do this then. Okay, so you can come up.